atmosphere is changing now, for the Spirit of the Lord is here. The evidence is all around, for the Spirit of the Lord is here. The atmosphere is changing now, for the Spirit of the Lord is here. The evidence is all around, yes, the Spirit of the Lord is here. Overflow in this place, fill our hearts with your love. Your love surrounds us. You're the reason we came to encounter your love. Your love surrounds us. The atmosphere is changing now, for the Spirit of the Lord is here. Yes, the evidence is all around, for the Spirit of the Lord is here. Overflow in this place, fill our hearts with your love. Your love surrounds us. You're the reason we came to encounter your love. Your love surrounds us. Spirit of God, fall fresh on us. We need your presence. Your kingdom come, your will be done, here as in heaven. Spirit of God, fall fresh on us. 'Cause we need your presence, Lord. Your kingdom come, your will be done, here as in heaven. Lord, overflow in this place, fill our hearts with your love. Your love surrounds us. You're the reason we came to encounter your love. Your love surrounds us. Overflow in this place, fill our hearts with your love. Your love surrounds us. You're the reason we came to encounter your love. Your love surrounds us. A miracle can happen now, 'cause the Spirit of the Lord is here. The evidence is all around,
welcome to Hope Church Online. It is November 12th, and I trust that our building process is going along well. I'm Jenny. I am the lead minister here. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Anna. I'm the administrative assistant at Hope, and my pronouns are she, they.
Yes, and we're so excited you're here. Really, our main way to communicate right now is digitally. We don't have an office.
Unfortunately.
We do not have a printer. We're really just making this happen. So a key place to stay informed is either read your emails. We'll continue to update the app and the website. And if you go to the app right now, you'll see a box that's called Worship Check-in. I'd like to take a second and invite all of you to check into worship. Let us know. I can't see if you're here, so that's very helpful. We want to know that we're not alone.
Yes.
And indeed, if you watch on through the app, there is a chat function, so we can all talk to each other that way. If you're on Facebook, you can chat there. I will likely have my phone up and my computer up, and on Sunday, November 12th, I am also preaching for a celebration Sunday in Springfield. So I have double duty today.
Yay.
Through the magic of technology.
There you go.
Two places at one time.
I didn't know you were magical, Jenny.
Oh, the things you don't know. Let's start our worship by saying our prayer statement together. Dear God, as Hope Church, we pray that this is a place where absolutely everyone experiences God's love. We are a place of theological thought and conversation, and we are a community learning to live Christ-centered lives. Amen.
I wanna be where my feet are. I wanna breathe the life around me. I wanna listen as my heart beats right on time. I wanna be where my feet are. I chase my worries, I flee my sorrows, but what you give me is now. So take my burdens and my tomorrows. I wanna be where my feet are. I wanna be where my feet are. I wanna breathe the life around me. I wanna listen as my heart's right on time. I wanna be where my feet are. I run to capture the next horizon, but what you give me is here, and I get no farther, but still I find you. I wanna be where my feet are. I wanna be where my feet are. I radar.
So over the rest of November, Anna and I are going to be sharing one conversation broken into 3 parts on life in the transitions. And it's, yes,
Perfect for hope
for
as
where
we
we
go
are.
through our big transition.
exactly. This is a book that was written in 2020 by Bruce Feiler, Feiler, and it's called Life is in the Transitions. He wrote this book after doing quite a bit of research about how people can live their most profoundly meaningful and, in a sense, happiest life, though he's shy to use the word happy. And he did quite a bit of research and then pulled in research that others have done on what does it take to live this fulfilling life. Now, I remember being in college and having conversations until 2, 4 in the morning.
Yep.
That still happen.
Yeah, actually, that happened last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's funny. that
Are
you bring
these
that
some
up.
of the conversations you were having? Like, who do I want to be? What do I want to do?
Yes, this was actually an exact conversation that I had last night with
You're
some of
kidding.
my friends. Yeah.
So, what's the wisdom that comes from Watterson Towers these days?
Oh, a lot of things, but honestly, I think living life in a sense like for yourself, because something that I struggle with personally is just like living my life for like other people, what I think they expect of me. So kind of recognizing that I do in fact have free will, I have a sense of agency, and then not just realizing that, but also acting on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so easy. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but it's so easy to get into that victim
Yes.
mentality, isn't it? Like, this happened to me, and now there's nothing I can do.
Yeah. And even if it's not in a sense victim mentality, but just like seeing like what happens in life, what happens in your life as happening to you, rather than recognizing that like you are kind of creating your own path in a sense, even if that is a little bit cliche.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Even when stuff happens to us, certainly a cancer diagnosis, the death of a spouse, and all sorts of things happening in our world that we really don't have any control over, there's still a way that we get to decide how we're responding to that.
Yes.
That's the agency. One of the stories in Bruce's book is of a woman who her spouse just died. She herself had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was recording her story, trying to get as much information from her as possible. And she said, "Oh, I've lived the best life. I could not be more lucky." And it was a moment in her life where she could have felt very attacked and like, why me? Why is this happening? And she had this response of gratitude for all that she had experienced.
Yeah, I really love that because I feel like in our own lives when like negative events kind of happen to us, we tend to view them just like in a purely negative light when they can give us a chance to like reflect on the positive experiences that we've had, like and again embodying that spirit of gratitude, being able to reflect on what you've gained from just like how many experiences you had. Like that is really profound, and I really love that.
I don't think I needed to be here today. Anna, how old are you again?
18.
This one hasn't even turned 19 yet. You can see why I enjoy working with her. She says things like, "How can I help you today?"
Oh, I appreciate that.
I want to take a look at one of the stories in scripture where, and I picture him being about 18 in this. This is a story of one of the brothers, sometimes called the parable of the prodigal son. But it could be the prodigal family and how they all worked that out. But let's just look at the younger son. This is from Luke, and it's chapter 15, verse 11. Then Jesus said, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of the wealth that will belong to me.' So he divided his assets between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all that he had and traveled to a distant region, and there he squandered his wealth in dissolute living." Now, I just want to stop right there. I can kind of understand what the younger son was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people in college, like in my stage of life right now, like we are just kind of out in the world, like independent for the first time, and like we don't know what we're doing. We no financial responsibility, so might as well spend it all.
Yeah. And that, like, life is short.
Yes.
I want to see the world and experience the world.
Yes.
And there's some truth in that as well, in really experiencing things. I will be so sad when this happens, but I really hope that Anna studies abroad at some point.
Oh.
Because that is one of those things that you generally, unless you have a very unique vocation or profession, you don't get to just spend 3 months to 6 months in another country after.
Absolutely. And Jenny was actually telling me about her time studying abroad when she was in college in England. And honestly, I just found it very inspiring because, again, like she really took the initiative to like broaden her perspective and see the world like when she had the opportunity. And I think that you can see kind of the openness in who the person that she is today, how open and welcoming she is.
And this is why we have Anna on. So you kind of can understand this, who gets called the prodigal son, like.
Yes.
So then, and I'm not going to go through this whole story. We're going to stop, but I'll say he squandered all his wealth. When he had spent everything, a severe famine took place throughout the region, and he began to be in need. So in the first part of that, he had agency, he had the money, and he chose to spend it all. But in the second part of that, a severe famine isn't his fault. He wasn't anticipating it. He wasn't preparing for it, but it's what happened. So if you know the rest of the story, he spends a lot of time deeply reflecting on who he is and where he came from. And ultimately, he goes back to his father's home, and there's a happy ending. He's received by the father, but he had to do a lot of self-reflection before he got there. It would be easy for him to ask the question, how did I end up in this situation? Though he kind of knows.
Yeah.
When you're talking to other 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and they ask, how did I end up here? Do you think they usually know, or do you think they're often legitimately asking that question?
I think that at least on some level they do know. Although like it can be difficult to recognize your own actions and kind of like reconcile that within yourself, just because then you have to like take responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And that can be true throughout life as well. I've had dear friends that are not in the correct relationship, but have stayed in it for unhealthy relationships for years, decades,
Yes.
and still ask the question, how did I end up in this situation? Or in the wrong job for long, how did I end up in this situation?
Yeah.
And then certainly when things happen to us, we can really ask that question. And you can then go, all right, well, what do I do now? And it's really easy to be very negative at that point.
Yes. But I think again, like what is key in this story, and actually what I find very interesting about the way Jenny preaches this story, is the emphasis on like the deep self-reflection within the prodigal son, because I was raised very Christian and kind of like a fundamentalist. I guess, flavor of Christianity. And whenever I was taught this story, there was no really mention of, oh, like the son took that into his own hands and like thought about who he wanted to be, like reflected on his actions, what he did right, like what he did wrong. It was like, look how poorly he acted.
Yeah, I guess that's how it's usually preached, isn't it?
Yeah, it's taught as sort of like a warning of sorts. Yeah, so I really love that you're kind of like flipping it on its head and like
Trying to do it. Yeah. Because I mean, it was his own fault, but then he did reflect.
Right.
That's what so the sentences I wasn't going to read, but he says, he went out and hired himself to one of the citizens of the region who sent him in the fields to feed the pigs. So all right, what can I do? And he does it. And then he says he would gladly have filled his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating. And when he came to his senses, that's such an important phrase, isn't it?
Yes, very
When
key.
he came to his senses, it's really honoring that it sometimes takes a second. He thought, how many of my father's hired hands would have bread enough to spare? And here I am dying of hunger. And that's when he makes his plan.
Mm-hmm.
In the book that I've referenced, Life is in the Transitions, the author talks about that as the ABCs, which I really hate acronyms, but it is what is here. And the A standing for agency, like really, what can you do? He decided what he can do is work for a pig farmer. And then when he came to his senses, he thought about his family, the B being belonging. And that is a really huge part of living life in a full way, is finding a place to belong and figuring out who your people are. And he was reflecting, oh my gosh, my people, I have people.
Yeah.
They're not here on this pig farm. They're back there. And then finally, it is once you do that, come to your senses, claim your own agency, figure out where you belong. The way you make the next steps are, what is my cause? That's the C. What's my mission? What's my purpose? And he says in verse 18, I'll get up and go to my father, and I will say to my father, I've sinned against heaven and I've sinned against you, and I'm not worthy even to be called one of your hired hands. He has this whole plan in his head. Like, this is going to be his cause. He'll work for his dad. And of course, then his dad sees his son and opens his arms fully, excited to welcome him.
Yeah, and I really love that because, again, going back to Jenny's favorite acronym, like the belonging part, once you truly find like the community of people who genuinely care about you, whether it is your family, like friends, the people at Hope Church, like they can open up their arms and like you can have that like forgiveness that even when you mess up, like, you can always come back to them. And that is so, so important because a big part of like finding yourself is like through relationships with other people and like finding your cause. Maybe your cause is the relationships that you have with other people.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Stay right where I am and hope to Kevin Maffett, location chair for the Leadership Council. Give you a quick update today on our building renovations. Short story is we're moving along. Everything's on schedule. Can't wait till we're meeting again in person. We're going to start off outside. As you can see in the pictures you've seen of the building, we've got 3 signs. We did finalize a proposal this week for new signage on the building, and we're going to put a picture of that up here so you can see it. And I think you'll agree these signs look great. We will have signs here on the front of the building, signs out on a monument sign on Hershey Road, and hopefully a sign on the side of the building that gives us more exposure from Hershey Road and the businesses over that way. Okay, we've moved inside. We're in the worship part of the building. As you can see, Jenny's going to move the camera around here in a minute, but a lot of work going on, a lot of drywall. We are getting pretty close to soliciting volunteers for the painting and decorating and flooring work that we're going to do ourselves. But as you can see here, a lot of work going on. And again, looking forward to seeing this room take shape to be the center of our building. We've moved to the reception area just outside the worship center. Behind me is the infamous firewall. As you can see, the wall's been constructed. It's got drywall. It's being taped as we speak. The door frame is in. So again, good progress here. This firewall will lead us into the fellowship area once complete. Okay, we're in the fellowship area, a rather large space. Next to me is where our coffee will be once we're fully operational. Behind me, and we'll show some video of that, will be a small kitchenette. For those of you who saw this when we purchased it, this is much more open now. Some walls have been removed, some air ducts have been moved around. So we're looking forward to this being a very large, open, inviting space for those who attend home.
You can see I'm showing the whole space. That door will be the door you go into for children's. Come around. Maybe you can't tell on the video, but 100 people will be able to hang out in here, and we'll have lots of seating areas. It might start with just tables and the chairs we already own, but you see those pipes coming out. That is for our coffee.
Okay, we've moved to the education wing. Again, a lot of progress being made here. Again, looks empty now, but a lot of drywall work. You can see a window's been added in the back so that we can have an office/storage area for our program staff. So pretty excited about that. You'll also notice a little bit more open in the back than it used to be, as we had to open up to get a little bit better exit to meet the fire codes. So yeah, great progress here also. Good update on where we're at. Some of you may be wondering why we haven't asked for more volunteer help. Let me tell you, it's coming. Right now, as you can see, we have a lot of construction people and tradespeople in and out, and we would just be in each other's way. As some of this work gets finished up, as you can see from all the painting and the flooring work that we'll be doing ourselves, probably soon after Thanksgiving, we'll be starting to solicit volunteers to help us with those things, and so keep your calendars open, and we'll be in touch. You'll see communications on getting more involved on getting this finished and ready to use for our Hope services.